speak too fast, because when I'm explaining certain important point, I tend to speak too fast. If I do that, then just let me know. All right. So yes, I am waiting for the BD track, but if I wait anymore, then the agenda will further get delayed. So let me just start from here, and they may join in as soon as possible. So I hope they join in before the activity. The rest of the team can onboard them. All right. So this is a 1 hour, and this is a 1 hour workshop. So let's do this. Okay. Facilitating team experiences. This is one of the important topics which we always talk about in any of our visits which we do, or any of the online consultancy or a monthly commission call which we do. But since this is a space we're all together, we thought of doing this before a replanning touch point. And that's why this workshop is here. So before we go ahead, this is me. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Prayog Mali. I joined ISEC way back in August 2013. Yes, 7 years, I'm a dinosaur. I was LCVP ISEC in India. Do we have India in the house? Make some noise. Yay, yay, yay. Woo! Nice. Then I got an opportunity to be MCVP for ISEC in Nepal. Do we have Nepal in the house? Make some noise. 1718. Nice. When I was MCP of ISEC in Nepal, 1819, then I was regional manager for 1920 for AD, and I'm returning in 2021, so I'll also be the regional manager. Those are just quick link to my social media. I'm trying to get more followers, guys. Do follow me. MCPs, yes, I will write you recommendations if you follow me. No worries. Cool. This is me. So the objective of this session is basically two things. One, how to host coaching conversations and give feedback and resolve team conflicts. Sorry for the typo. The second thing is how to ask the right question with an intention of bettering each other and also find solutions together. So what happened? So it's pretty clear. Basically, I'm going to talk about conflict resolution, team feedback, and how to ask the right questions and find solutions and create possibilities together. So how I'm going to do this is, what you may learn from this session is understand the root of team conflicts and how to approach them. I'm going to go detail into why conflicts happen in the first place. Second thing, how to ask questions and give feedback, and how to create possibilities. I'm going to give some tips on that. So this is how the 1 hour session is divided. What you should, how you should approach this session is basically, if you're an MCP, keep in mind the experience of your MC team, one, and you are as a team leader of that MC team, and then second, at you facilitating this leadership experience for LCP commission. And for MCVPs, keep in mind your experience within the MC team as a team member and the experience of commissions you're leading. Are you guys with me now? Give me a thumbs up if you're clear. It's pretty simple stuff, guys. Nice. Cool. This is like a short content map. I'm going to have a poll, then 10 minutes theory. We're going to go into 20 minutes activity, then again 10-minute theory, and at the end I'll have take some questions, and in between I will take some sharings also, just to manage your energy accordingly. All right. I hope the BD people will join before the activity. All right. So before anything, I want you to go to this with your mobile. Just open slido.com. This is the code 66683, link, QR code, however you prefer. Go there. Right. Can you guys see the screen? Slido. Right. I'll give you a quick 20 seconds to come here. All right. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4. Right. I'm going to post the first question. Okay. This is the first question. On a scale of 1 to 5, rate the following question. I agree 100% with my MC direction. Okay, this is anonymous, don't worry. I'm not gonna catch you guys. See, 10 people have already answered. 14 people. We have 45 people. Can we get at least 30 answers? 16, 17. Keep it coming. People who just joined, go to Slido. This is the code 66683. 20, right, 21, 10, 9, 8, 3, right? Can we get more answers? We have 45 people in the room. 46. Thanks, Tech Passy. All right, so this is the answer you mentioned. Agree for most of the function, majority of the people, and then we have a conflict between somewhat agree and absolutely agree 100%. Nice. Just to take a mental note, there are some people who also only agree for few functions. That was my first question. All right. Aha. Okay. Okay. Varun, like a boss. Yeah, don't worry. Don't worry. All right. Wait. Yes. Now I'm going to ask you the second question, which is on your slide. On the scale of 1 to 5, how much do you relate to the following? That I am doing whatever is given to me and I'm following my daily routine like an autopilot. Like I'm on an autopilot and I'm just going ahead with my regular routine. Okay. Let's see. Let's get 30 answers. Can we reach 30 this time? Come on, guys. Come on. Come on. 16. We're halfway there. 20. 22. 24. 5. Can I reveal the answers? 25. Come on. Let's reach 30. Let's do this. Yeah, one more, guys. One more. Don't fill it again, huh? Same MCP, just to. Okay, got it. Wow, interesting. You could only somewhat relate. Majority of the people, most people don't relate at all. That's nice. Can't relate, but don't deny. Okay, people are in the middle. Most of the times, I'm an autopilot, and there are some people in this room who say they're 100%. They're all the time on autopilot. All right, cool. So I'm going to ask the next question. Just take notes, just take a mental note of this, okay? The third question I want to ask is this. On the scale of 1 to 5, so far, I feel all my expectations from this term are fulfilled. So in the last 6 months of your, or last 4 months of your MC experience, can be MCP, MCVP, I think all my expectations are fulfilled, all right? Let's reach more than 30 because we have now 50 people joining in. Let's reach 35 this time. The people who just joined, come to Slido, take this code and answer the question. 25, 26, let's get 10 more people. 27, 29, 1, 5 more people. 1, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. So let's see the answers. Okay, majority of the people are saying 50% are fulfilled. Some people mentioned 80% fulfilled, 80% of people said, but there are people who have none fulfilled and there are people who are less than 20% fulfilled. So I'm not making any inferences. Note that these questions do not have any positive or negative connotations. I just want you to express how you guys feel through this anonymous or so-called anonymous poll. All right. So the next question I'm going to ask, the second last question, is this. Scale of 1 to 5, rate the following questions. I feel connected and appreciated by my entire team. Something Chair was talking about in the morning. I don't neither connected nor appreciated, somewhat connected but not appreciated, somewhat connected, sometimes appreciated, somewhat connected and regularly appreciated, very much connected and very much appreciated. Let's cross 32 mark this time. For the people who just joined, please come to this poll and answer these questions. 5. Come on, let's reach more than last time. 32. Don't be on the fence. Trust me, it's anonymous. All right, we have more than 30. It was 32 last time. Okay, I'm gonna go. So people are in the middle. They feel somewhat connected and sometimes appreciated. But it's good that the majority of the people are at 4 and 5, that very much connected and appreciated. But note that there are people in this room who are neither connected or not appreciated, or somewhat connected and not appreciated. Just take a mental note. And the last question I would ask, because Slido only allows 5 questions in the free version, is this. I know how am I developing through this term. My personal goals are 100% aligned with my professional development goals. I don't know. One is I don't know how this experience is making me grow personally or professionally. Second is I don't know how am I growing, but surely I'm developing some professional skills. Third, I grew a bit and I'm developing some skills in the middle. Fourth, I grew a lot since the beginning of this term, and this is somewhat aligned to my future goals also. And the topmost is number 5, which is it's my personal and professional goals are 100% aligned, and I grew tremendously so far in the term. We have 26 responses so far. And 7, let's reach more than 32. Give 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, let's see the answers. Oh, that's nice. Majority of the people are at 4. They grew a lot and also somewhat aligned to the future. I see, but note that majority of the people are in the middle also. There are some people who are at 1 and 2. All right. Thank you for the voting, guys. Let's go back to this session slides, which is this. Okay. I hope all of you can see the session slides. It's amazing. Just give me a second. All right. Cool. Amazing. So keep this thing in the back of your mind. Keep these questions and answers to these questions in the back of your mind whenever you do the next team meetings, and ask this question to yourself: like, am I having leadership development experience from this term? Right? Just keep this in the back of your mind. I don't want to do anything. The answer to the above question, if you think is yes, and it's good. If it's no, then how am I taking ownership of my own experiences? Because at the end of the day, it's in ISEC, this is probably like, unless the people who are applying for MCPs or unless they're applying for higher roles, this is probably the last role you're going to have in ISEC. The only right way to go about it is to take 100% ownership and make sure that you are growing through this experience and also helping others to grow through this experience. The second thing I want to talk about is responsibility. Like, what is responsibility? It's basically your ability to respond. The answer to the above question was no for you. It's basically you don't think or you don't know how this is helping me grow. Or if you see people in your team, you're in your MC team or in your commissions, they are not growing through this experience, then it's your responsibility to ask them this question, that how are they growing through this experience, and somehow as their team leader, it becomes your responsibility to make sure that it is aligned and they are actually growing through a powerful leadership experience for this term. Because what happens is majority of the times when we share these planning, and especially in this touch point when we do replanning, majority of the time we end up coaching MCPs to navigate team conflicts. Majority of the strategies and different things do not work out. There are systems, processes, different uncertainties, but majority of the time, all the coaching, not just us, in any teams, majority of the team coaching, this is confirmed by external data also, is only coaching about navigating through team conflicts. So I want to start this session by addressing one of the most important thing is that why do we have internal conflicts? So when I talk about conflicts, there are two types of conflicts. One within ourselves, and the second is within the team itself. So let's look at why do we in the first place have conflicts, because in order to facilitate a good and a positive and a powerful leadership experience, it's given that we shouldn't have even if we have conflicts, we should be able to understand them and navigate and grow through them. So let's understand why do we have internal conflicts in the first place. So internal conflicts usually happen due to lack of knowledge about values and your priority. What we really want for ourselves in the present. If you don't know that, that is one of the things which causes internal conflicts. This indecisiveness at its core is just lack of clarity. If you're not clear what your values are, what your priorities are, or within this team, what you bring on a table, this lack of clarity of direction gives this is at the root cause of having internal conflict. Now, if you look at a team conflicts, now what I'm going to explain is a bit theoretical. You may even call it a little bit spiritual, but please try to pay attention. Are you guys with me so far? So give me a thumbs up if you're with me so far. People who just joined, give me a thumbs up, type something in the chat. All right. If you're with me so far, then you're with me. Okay, all right, cool. Let's go deeper into hold on a second. I hope I'm recording this. Okay. Yeah. Let's go deeper into understanding team conflicts. Why do we have team conflicts in the first place? A team conflict arises from these differences. So first you mentioned about our internal values, beliefs, belief systems, right? But when it comes to teams, if one or two or more people disagree over those values or motivations or perception or ideas or different desires within the team, that's a root cause of a team desire. The conflict, but if that particular conflict triggers strong emotion or a strong feeling within an individual involved in that conflict, then there is a deep insecurity or a personal need behind and is often at the core of that problem. So we need to understand this very carefully. So if you want to go in much deeper, one step deeper into this is why in a team, certain individuals have this, become at the core of this conflict. Is we need to, even in the morning chair was talking about this, like how much are we comfortable with conflict in the team is a root. It's one of the indicators chair used to measure that how teams are comfortable. And he also mentioned to look into the 5 dysfunctional of team. Of course, there is a this model. Most of MCPs are aware, right? The 5 dysfunctions of the team. It has 5 levels. Is anyone here who is not aware of this model? If you are, then just type it in the chat. Okay, people are aware. All right, cool, nice. So you're aware of this model, right? This dysfunction, the book is also really nice. If people are interested, you should read it. The Patrick Links is the absence of trust, fear of conflicts, lack of commitment, avoidance of accountability, and this all leads to inattention of results. But at the base of it is absence of trust. Now, other way of looking at it is, you all know this model also by Tuckerman, like the stages of team stages, right? Forming, storming, norming, and performing. It's a very fluid model. You can go from norming to storming. Some of your MC teams or your commission teams are maybe in the forming stage, or hopefully they should be done by forming by now, but they may be in storming or performing or norming or any of the phase, and you can go back and forth in this model. But the two things I want you to pay attention in this is during forming is the team acts as an individuals, and there is a lack of clarity about the purpose and individual roles. Like individuals in the team, they do not know what do they bring onto the table. And storming, that arises basically due to conflict arises basically due to establishing their place in the team. They don't know how to establish their place in the team. So this lack of understanding of individual roles and what is their place in a particular team, that leads to conflicts. Now, from this point onwards, I'm going to go even a little deeper. Are you guys with me so far? Give me a thumbs up. All right, cool. I'm going to talk about these three things: individuality, identity, and ego. All right, this is, once you understand this, you understand the root causes of why different conflicts happen and how can you navigate through it. So first thing, let's look at individuality. Individuality is nothing but the heap of different impressions your memory has in you. However you grew up as a child, whatever impressions you have had since childhood, however you grew up, your childhood, your memories, that forms your individuality. You may also call this a personality. The second thing is identity, is who you are, who do you identify yourself in this present moment is your identity. For example, Prayog is a FASI right now, but Prayog as a FASI is different than Prayog as a delegate, or Prayog as a student is different as Prayog as a son, for example, right? So this is your identity, who you identify yourself in the present moment. And the third thing is ego. What is ego? Is the sense of this particular identity. You may also call this a self-esteem or a self-importance. So you understand these three concepts. For example, the things you believe that you are entitled to because of your present identity, that forms your ego. For example, I am an MCP. I'm just give an example. Say how one is in front of me on my screen. That's what I'm saying. I as an MCP, I'm an MCP. So with MCP, my ego is that my team should respect me. All right. So this is an example of ego. Are you guys clear so far about these three definitions? Individuality, identity, and ego. So give me a thumbs up if you're clear so far. All right. I hope if you have questions, you can type it in the chat. We can keep it for later as well. All right. Cool. The root of all team conflicts is this: undefined individuality, confused identity, and uncontrolled ego. If you have not defined who you are as a person, if you don't have enough self-awareness about your values, your belief, your purpose, that leads to team conflict. That leads to internal conflicts, which eventually lead to team conflicts. The second thing is confused identity. I don't know who am I at this present moment. That leads to your identity being confused. I'm not sure what my place in this team is, then it will lead to conflict. I'm not sure if what do I bring onto the table, then it will lead to this conflict. And last but not the least is uncontrolled ego. According to me, I believe that since this is my identity, these are the things I am entitled to, or these are the things are these beliefs are something which I am entitled to. And this is the root cause of all internal as well as team conflicts. So how do I address this? Of course, this needs of course, this needs a lot of asking tough questions. Who am I? Like, who am I really? This is like the biggest philosophical questions you can ask. What is your virtue? What is your passion, beliefs? What is your individuality, right? Who am I in the team? Like, what is the skill you bring onto the team? What is the action you are expected to take in this team? And last but not least, instead of ego, am I selfless? Am I actually leaving my ego? Am I actually able to leave my ego behind and be of service to my people? If you want to move from individual and internal conflicts and also navigate team conflicts, you need to ask these tough questions. With me so far? All right. This comes with a lot of self-awareness, and it's not a one-time thing. Okay, now I'm self-aware. I took one session or I did meditation and I'm self-aware. This is an ongoing process, and you need to keep asking yourself these tough questions. And the questions you're probably avoiding to ask yourself or your team leader or your team members are the most important questions you should ask, right? Just gonna give you 10 seconds to think, or let me give you 30 seconds to think. What are the difficult questions am I holding from myself or am I avoiding to ask either my team members or my team leaders? Take a mental note or note it down anywhere you want. That was a comfortable silence. And I hope you had some self-reflection moment here. I'm not going to ask you to share. How to move forward from this? If you understand that these questions are within you and these questions are popping up within your mind or within your team, then one of the powerful ways with which you can answer these questions, or if your team members ask you these questions or your team leaders ask you these questions, is how do you navigate through these questions? Is one of the ways is having a discussion and providing a feedback through what happened. So before I move into the activity, I'm just gonna give you some mindset and some tools of how can you give feedbacks to each other, and how can you create that positive environment about asking the right questions. I'm not giving you answers, but I'm encouraging you to ask those tough questions. So the difference between feedback and feed forward is how you ask these questions in a way that it doesn't take you back, but it actually takes you forward. All right. So for this, there is no failure, there's only feedback. You cannot have failure. You can only give feedback and move forward. Like failure is not failure if you learn from something. That's the point I'm trying to make. So for this, you need to have three things. I think I took this from one of the sessions by Alex. I don't know if she shared this with you, but this is one of the very powerful sessions she developed from a book. Your previous MCPs might know. And if you were a part of any replanning with me in the previous replanning, you would know. But there's a quick method you can have for team feedback and team conversation is the meaning method and the desk method and how to move forward. But even before you ask these right questions and give team feedbacks, there is a mindset you need to develop as MCPs and MCVPs. So what is the mindset? I'm going to tell you like quick 5 or 6 things. That your mindset when you approach these questions and ask your team is that you're willing to put the problems in your team in front of us rather than between us or sliding towards you. This should be the first thing. Second thing, yes, this is the 360 feedback. The second thing is I want to acknowledge what you do well instead of picking apart the mistakes. I'm not just telling you about your mistakes, what you did in your team, but I'm actually acknowledging what you've done well. Third mindset you should have is that I recognize your strength and what you bring onto the table and how can I use this to tackle challenges. So I don't just pick apart problems, but I also recognize their strength during a feedback. Fourth mindset is I can hold you accountable without shaming or blaming you. Don't ask, why didn't you do this? It was your responsibility. And when you ask this question, the other person also shouldn't feel that I'm blamed upon, but they should have a sense of accountability towards you. The fifth thing is I can talk about how resolving these challenges or these questions will lead to growth and opportunity, will lead to your growth and more opportunity. And last but not the least, that I'm ready here, I'm here for you. Ask questions and accept that I may not fully understand the issue. I may not fully understand the problem, but I'm ready to listen and ask the right questions. So and behind this mindset, you should really have this meaning. Like mindset is basically your why of doing feedback. The how of doing feedback is how can I use this information during this feedback space to serve? Like how can whatever I get from this feedback space is how can I use this information to serve and grow the people with me? The tool I'm going to teach is the 360-degree method, what Susita mentioned. I think I did this with in Bangladesh and Sri Lanka back then. But then, yeah, I think some of you may even know this method called desk. Is whenever you give a feedback, you should first describe a specific situation or an action. Second, you should express your emotion, how it made you feel. Some suggestion for the future or question for clarity. If you understand their emotions completely, then you can go to conclusion. But if you don't, then ask more questions to clarify. And last but not the least, what is the consequence or a conclusion you're coming up to? What is the consensus you're agreeing to in this particular feedback method? So I encourage all of the MCPs and all of the MCVPs also in your replanning space. This is one of the important touch point, touch point to utilize to do this team's feedback space to grow it better. So I'm going to quick pause here for like 5 seconds to drink water. You can take a screenshot or a snapshot of this. All right. Without further ado, let's move into the activity directly. So the activity is simple. It's to have an open and honest conversation with you. The activity is not intended to end here. This will not, this is not an output oriented activity. This is more like a process oriented activity. The conversations which start here, I understand all your team members might not be here. So, but the conversations start here. You should give them, you should take them forward during your replanning and future processes. So some of the questions you can ask is, how can we as a team get better? How can I have a powerful leadership development experience in the term? And how can I contribute towards my teammates' leadership development experience? I would invite MCPs to host this conversation. Now I'm going to break you out into your breakout rooms. So if you even see, the questions are designed are as a how questions, because for why questions we don't have enough time, and I could have easily given you like a method or a what. I don't want to give you like a tool or something, but I want you to figure it out by yourself. And these questions are basically based on your experience, your growth, and your contribution within your team. So take a screenshot of these questions. I'm going to post it in the MCP chat. And instead of 20 minutes, since we started a bit late, I'm going to give you 15 minutes. All right. Is our MCPs cool? MCVPs cool? I'm going to take a screenshot and send this into the MCP chat as well. Tech Fassy, can you help me break out the MCPs and MCVPs into according to their entities, and give them 15 minutes?
Yeah, may I know who is Masaki? Which entity are you from?
Masaki is Japan.
Sorry. And also Fireflies.
Sagar is Singapore.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I will open all the breakout rooms.
Nice. Give them 15 minutes. Is there anyone with no breakout rooms, or there is only one person from that entity? Then you can club them. Like if there is only one person, then you can put them together.
Okay, so I will I will move Ima to Cambodia.
Yeah, you can put MCPs together if they're alone, if they don't have their team.
I think it's okay. I'll just stay here. We'll have a feedback space with my team on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, because I think it might be intimate with the group, so I don't know. Might be
It's
I
awkward.
see.
there only one MCB also Australia.
Okay, go. Okay.
You can get them here then.
Australia is also just one.
Is there any MCVP without the MCP?
Yes, Mongolia.
Where is Beck?
Just get him here. Just get him in the main room. Sisita, there should be people from Sri Lanka. Can you send him to Sri Lanka?
It's okay. 11. Priya, can you pause the recording?
Yes. People already started coming back. All right. see most of the people are back. All right. I can take a couple of people to share. How was your discussion? Does anyone want to share? MCPs, MCPs.
I'd like to share.
Go ahead.
So our discussion was actually pretty insightful. We spoke about our team dynamics, our abilities of communicating with each other. And I think one very important, let's say, discovery we sort of came to was that every person in our team had a very different way of communicating with each other. So now when we go forward into our replanning, that's the one thing we take into account and talk over and see how we can help each other communicate with each other better.
All right. Thanks for sharing that, Elizabeth. Does anyone else want to share? Don't nominate anyone. If they want to share, they will share.
Okay, I can go next.
Go, Snehi.
So yes, for us, like in our team, we all are doing our work well, and we have a good team dynamics. But the thing that is that we'll be taking forward in this replanning is that how to be accountable how to be accountable and how to look after each other, because right now we all are virtual, we have not met physically, and we have human crunch, and that is the only issue that we see, and yeah, we'll be working on that.
Thank you. Does anyone else? I can take one last share.
Can I share?
Go.
Okay. So just now I had a very heartfelt conversation with my MCVP. So I think the problem that we are having in our team is that most of the time it's coming from each of ourselves, because like we are more in terms of like blaming ourselves that we could not make much progress in the very last quarter, and we feel like we are not very accomplished, and we are very shy or very awkward to talk to the team whenever we have MCM or update and stuff. So yeah, so that was like I know, like that was really heartfelt, and I'm really happy that I got to talk about it with my MCVP. And yeah, don't blame yourself too much, man. We are in this together, so cheer up, fighting.
Thanks, Chitra, for sharing that. That takes courage to share. Um, I know these conversations are like not going to end in this workshop or not going to end this in this space, but I highly encourage all the MCPs and MCVPs to take forward these conversations within your MC team and also with the respective commissions you are leading, the LCPs or your functional commission. Moving forward, I have some tips for you to create possibilities within your team. I really like this idea because whenever we arise at a question, right, that question holds enormous power to either make or break the conversation or what's happening in the team. Right? That questions hold tremendous possibilities within them, just like humans. And one of our like the vision of ISEC is to achieve peace and fulfillment of humankind potential, right? So that fulfillment, that unlocking can only happen if we ask powerful questions. Um, and allow all the possibilities to flourish. So I have certain tips, like 5 tips to share to create possibilities for your team. Some of them you may already be aware, some of you may not know. The first tip is within your team, practice appreciative inquiry. So those of you know, good, who don't, it's basically a method of formulating a problem with this positive core. Whatever the question or a feedback you're asking, ask it in a positive way and try to give it life in a way that what is the best that can happen from this situation? What is the best that can happen in this particular situation? Envision what it could be. Like the first step is discovery. Then second step is dreaming what it could be, envisioning the possibilities, innovating. Third is design. How exactly you will be co-constructing this future. And last is what will it be? How will it apply? How will you execute that with excellence? The idea is keep the positive core as a strategic focus. Now, in this stage, we are planning within a lot of uncertainties. You will have a different scenarios, you will do different planning. But at the end, as an organization, what is the positive core we have? What is the hedgehog, what is that one focus or strategic focus we can have where that is the strength of us as an organization and as a team, and how can we keep that at a positive core? Create and innovate new things instead of firefighting. To address existing problem, there are different methods, but the best way to go forward by, according to the appreciative inquiry method, is to innovate around things and create different possibilities from the current problems. And ask yourself this question always, whenever you encounter a problem within a team: what is the opportunity here? What is the opportunity I'm working with? Your MCPs have already been told more about this method, and hope you employ this in your conversations. The second thing is have generous assumption. Give the person benefit of the doubt. Don't assume the worst, especially when communicating virtually. I would rather have you over communicate than under communicate, because this is how the conflict arises. You don't even understand in the first place, and when you do that and you work with different cross cultural teams, don't assume things, over communicate, and give the benefit of the doubt by doing generous assumption. Third tip is the intention. What is the intent with which you ask the question? What is the intent with which you give feedback? What is the intent with which you communicate with your team members about anything? Ask that question with the right intent, because if you ask that question with a positive intent, you'll be amazed by how the whole approach of a person or a problem become very different, because it's difficult then to answer the question. If you don't understand the intent behind someone who has asked you a question, then clarify. Don't assume. Like if your MCBs ask me, hey, why is this marketing function, like in the morning, Daisy was giving example, right? Why is not happening? Instead of not talking and going off the chat and stuff like that, don't assume. Clarify the intent. The third tip, which is quick, is ask the right questions. What kind of questions you ask, on that depends what kind of answers you will get. Asking the question is already half the solution to the problem. Carl Jung, he's crazy guy. Like, he done a lot of stuff for psychology, but yeah, this I completely agree. What are the questions you're asking? Even for example, when I ask you the question during breakout, or that was a how question, but why questions are more powerful than what questions, how questions and what question. And it is harder to answer. It is harder to ask the right questions than actually to answer them. So the only way you can get better at asking the right question is by practicing. And last but not the least, serve with compassion. Always ask this question. Always ask that, what is the opportunity here and how can I serve in this moment? And serve them powerfully and be compassionate with other people, because you never know all the things which are happening with them, especially during this pandemic time and when you're not physically together, living together as in a normal conversation. So just a quick wrap up and quick give a recap. These are the 5 tips I mentioned: appreciative inquiry, generic assumption, intention, ask the right question, serve with compassion. I can give you 5 seconds to take a quick snap if you want. And yeah, that's for the session. For the story over chai, you can meet me sometime else. So what we saw from the beginning, to quickly recap the session, is the first we saw, we did the whole quiz where we understood there might be some people in the team who are not having the best leadership experiences, how they envisioned or uh, how they thought it would be. And then we entered into one of the problem, or one of the key things because of which facilitating a powerful team experience becomes difficult, is to conflict. We understood what is an internal conflict, what is a team conflicts, what are the root causes behind those team conflicts, like about the ego, identity, and also about your personality, basically, like what is root causes behind your conflicts. uh, and then we understood, from there we understood how to give feedback, different methods of giving feedback, how you should be preparing when having these conversations with your team. I gave you a tool, the desk tool, to give 360-degree feedback and take forward this conversation. And I gave you some tips after the activity about how to create possibilities. So that was a session. I know it may be a lot to take, but I hope it was useful and you take these tools in your planning, and to take this conversation forward. Does anyone want to share how the session was? That's all for the session. Does anyone want to share how the session was for them so far? I can take one sharing. I understand you may be tired. I think GT people didn't get the break. Going thrice, going twice. If you want to share, you can just unmute and share. I can take one person. Going thrice, going twice, going once. All right, cool. I understand you may be tired. I just want to end this session with this quote: is that always keep this question which I asked you in the beginning, that in the back of your mind, that am I having a leadership development experience in this term? And the second question is, how am I creating possibilities for everyone in this team to have a powerful leadership development experience? Have this question in the back of your mind as a team leaders and team members within different team, and lead and serve well. That's it. Thank you, guys. Now you have a break, and then you go to your respective sessions. Thank you so much. That's it for the session. If you have any questions, you can stay and ask. But if not, you can move to the next session.
Thank you. 감사합니다.谢谢.